Hello and welcome to the local campaign, helping voters make an informed decision for the upcoming municipal election. I'm your host and moderator, Dan Polstrek. Tonight, we have the Kitchener Ward 1 debate. The candidates vying for this council seat are the incumbent, Scott Davey, Marcus Drozdo, Aasia Khatoon, Susan Stark, and Stephanie Stretch. Thank you, Ms. Stark. Ms. Khatoon.
Thank you so very much, Dan. Hi, my name is Aasia, and my only objective as soon as I'm elected in this election is to get better job for our residents. Our Kitchener families are finding it really difficult, and our youth is finding it has huge study loans. They get the study loans and then they end up in Tim Hortons and Walmart and survival jobs. If they can't find a better job here or whatever they're getting here, after some time, they're leaving their city and moving on to other places for a better life. Eventually, what's happening, our senior population is increasing. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that seniors from all over the country are coming in to live in Kitchener because it's such a great city. It means our loved ones are leaving us. But then on the other hand, what are we even giving to our seniors? We are providing them no better life. They are actually living in horrible conditions, I would say, and I believe this needs to change. On the other hand, the non-Kitchener residents, they come in, they get better job because they have better trainings. They come here, they get better jobs, better pay, better benefits, and once they're done, they leave they leave the city. Look at the elective representatives. You will find them. Pick up a newspaper and you find them at different events. You will find them at different parties. Why aren't they doing what they're supposed to do? Why aren't they better representing us? My children and my family is growing up here in Kitchener just like you guys. And I want a better future for them. I want a better future for the community and the people around us. And I cannot do it, or we cannot do it alone. For that reason, I want to, and I ask you to come forward on October the 22nd and vote for Aasia as your Kitchener Ward 1 candidate. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Khatoon.
All municipalities across Canada have been facing infrastructure challenges in the last number of years. That is, building roads, water mains, sewers, and other necessary structures that businesses and residents require on a daily basis. Do you support using property tax increases to finance current and future infrastructure requirements? And if not, what would you propose as an alternative revenue source?
Stand.
Well, to tell you the truth, I agree with Scott as well. I believe we shouldn't be having any increase in the taxes, the property taxes, and we already have, and keeping in mind we have to keep it either under the deficit level, but in a way, even if you are planning on increasing the property taxes, there has to be consensus with the people, having them on board, and then moving forward. You see, the only problem I see is, first of all, communication. The second is better jobs. Better jobs means better income. Better income means better chances for people. And then again, on that point, we can talk about either increasing or keeping the taxes at the same level.
Ward 1 contains a number of parks, trails, and riverside green spaces. What kind of environmental policy would you like to see the next council develop? And perspective, Ms. Khatoon.
Well, to tell you the truth, I have my kids. They love going to the park. I myself love going to the park and seeing the community people coming out, especially in summers. So I am actually for it that we need to work on the community parks, making it more safer, healthier for the community people, for the people of the neighborhood, and making it in a way accessible to even those who are unable to come to them, making it more, how would you call it, making it, caring for it more, caring for the trees, caring for the nature. And that's one of the ways that we are going to hand it over to our coming generations so they can enjoy what we had as when we were growing up.
Mr. Drozdo.
Is home ownership unaffordable for many recent graduates in Waterloo region? And secondly, What can municipal governments do to assist with the housing supply in this municipality?
So somewhat of a twofold response for that, but we'll begin with Ms. Hatoun.
Okay, as I said, my only objective is to get better jobs, and somehow or the other it all comes back to that. Affordable housing, or the housing for young people in the Kitchener area, is if they don't have a job, if there is not good paying job, what is affordable, by the way? Yes, of course it is difficult. It is difficult from a young guy to an old guy to afford a house. So in the end, it comes back to it: finances, good, better jobs, benefits. That's what I'm going to fight for, and that's what my objective is. Once we get to that point, I promise you, once you have that financial stability within you, once you're confident that yes, you have, then affording housing is no big deal. But we need to get to the point where our young or our youth have good jobs rather than survival, Tim Hortons, Walmart, or other jobs where they're just wasting their time and getting, at the end of the day, getting nothing, no benefits, no security. So that's what I'm going to do, fight for better jobs for the residents and making sure everybody, all of us, from our younger generation, from our youth to our seniors, have better housing facilities and a better place to call their home. Thank you.
And Mr. Davey, as the incumbent, how would you further look to improve the situation?
Well, we've already implemented some tools in terms of giving developers bonuses in terms of their density if they do include a portion of affordable housing. Now, we're kind of the victims of our own success, because Kitchener's economy is so strong now that everyone wants to move here, and what that's done is it's driven up property values. And to combat that, like, the fundamental issue is a supply and demand issue. And as long as we're making it difficult to add more units, which I think should go mostly in downtown Kitchener near transit, we're reducing that supply. So I think it's one of those, it's sort of a back and forth issue where we need to look at some of these issues, like the not in my backyard and even some of the heritage issues, and look at it and say, what is really more important here? I'm hearing stories about bidding wars for rental properties, which has never really happened before because there's such a tight supply. So I think one of the most important things we can do is loosen up the restrictions if developers do build a portion of affordable housing.
For those responses, aside from affordable housing, we move on to another prevalent topic in homelessness. And my question is, what would you do to address homelessness specifically and addiction in Kitchener?
I'm just stunned because I don't agree. I'm tired of hearing, well, it's not ours, it's the regions, it's this. The City of Kitchener can start partnering with some of these organizations now. I agree with Stephanie. I've spent 18 years in the not-for-profit sector. My last year was spent at United Way. So, and I spent time with Community Support Connections, where I can't even begin to tell you how it broke my heart to see so many seniors who are living in squalor, who have no meals, who have no one to help them. The seniors are for sure one of the biggest groups that are spending the most amount of their money on housing. Homelessness and affordable housing are different things, but they can go hand in hand. I've actually met with someone from HUGS. I met with someone from Kitchener Housing. I've met with Ray of Hope, and I've had constant communication over the past year with John Neufeld from the House of Friendship. We need to partner with them. If you walk 5 blocks in any direction from City Hall, you hit the most social agencies in Kitchener-Waterloo. So to say the region deals with all these things, for sure. But if you did a great plan from the city, from the council, and said, we want to partner with these people, we need your help with that, HUGS has told me it would probably happen. They're focused on finding a way to get the 300 most chronic homeless people into housing by the July 1st, 2019. 300 is doable. When you get them in there and you provide the supports, it's not immediate, it starts to change. And the drug issue is close to my heart. I have personal experience with one of my family members with that. He's clean now, but the House of Friendship was there for him. So I can't say enough about these agencies locally that as a member of council, I would commit to partnering with to make sure that we're looking at the most vulnerable in our society. Thank you.
And Mr. Davey, would you challenge that point at all by chance from your perspective?
No, and like again, we struggle with it because like where do you cross the line on jurisdictional boundaries? It's interesting because we did an Environics survey, which basically is a statistically significant survey across Kitchener, and we were all really happy with the fact that a lot of the results came back saying that these are some of the issues that residents are concerned about, meaning that we have a warm and caring community. It's just a matter of how do we implement. For example, obviously we'd have to dedicate resources to it. So if we raise property taxes to dedicate resources to the homeless, then suddenly we're raising the cost of living and pushing more people out of their homes. So it's a real catch-22, and as has been said several times, only a multi-pronged approach is ever going to solve this problem.
We want to get Ms. Hatoun's thoughts on this as well. So homelessness and addiction, what would your approach be here?
Well, I totally agree. Homelessness and addiction, they are both big issues here in Kitchener. And it just simply breaks my heart going to work, seeing these people on the road. In fact, a couple of days back, I was in the car and my kids were sitting with me, and there I see a blanket at one of the bus stops. And I looked at them and my daughter says, "What happened?" I'm like, "There's a blanket. That means somebody was sleeping there." You see, we have very good people in the neighborhood, in the community. We have good organization. The government needs to sit with them, get them on board, right? There is always a way for everything. It just needs that compassion. It just needs that caring for the community. It just needs you to think, what if that was you? And once you start thinking about it that way, I am 100% sure you will come up with a solution. I mean, there's nothing in this world that's without a solution. It's just that partner up with people. One person alone cannot do. Just make them sit on the table. The organizations should be on the table with you. And I'm telling you, there are so many brilliant ideas that can help in the issue of the homelessness. Again, addiction, to me, everything, I mean, with me, everything is, or maybe it's more like financial related, mental issues, job insecurities. What happens to you? I mean, you see your child asking for something and you can't do it. How do you kind of calm yourself down? Goes into drinking and slowly and gradually in addiction. So yes, there are these issues are there, but then again, communicating with the residents, communicating with the community, bringing them on the table, and definitely we'll find a solution to that.
Thank you for those passionate and thoughtful responses. We'll move on to another question, actually, from Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce Vice President Art Sinclair.
Historically, about 30% of eligible voters in Waterloo Region or any other city in Ontario actually show up at the polls on election day. Is this lack of engagement a concern, and how can municipal governments respond?
So, Ms. Stretch, we'll begin with yourself in terms of getting citizens more actively engaged in the voting process.
Yeah, absolutely. So as mentioned, 30% of people vote in municipal elections. Currently, in our last election in Ward 1, it was closer to 22% of people who actually voted. Absolutely, we can do better. I would like to encourage all the candidates here tonight. We need to get out and vote as we're knocking on doors. Yes, we need to be promoting ourselves and what we stand for, but we also need to be promoting active participation in democracy. I think it is a good and healthy sign that there are so many of us here where you could perhaps relate to someone or connect to someone who could represent you very well. I think the city could help promote people to vote by there's many different ways they could, by helping to advertise or by helping candidates to advertise as well. Yeah, it's very important to our democracy, and it's very important to you, the voter, to be represented by someone who can really stick up for you. Thank you. Mr.
Davey, from your time on council, how would you improve that engagement?
For sure. So I actually have a different understanding than Ms. Stretch. I was under the impression that Ward 1 actually was among the leading in terms of voter turnout. They certainly were in 2010. I thought the number was closer to 34% in the most recent election. Having said that, that's still way too low. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. The first and foremost is I think there's been some voter fatigue in terms of our municipal elections coming hot in the heels of a very controversial, big out there provincial election, and that happened in 2014 as well. I think the other big issue is it's really confusing to vote in a two-tier government. You go out and you don't just vote for your mayor. You vote for your mayor, you vote for your councillor, you vote for 4 regional councillors, you vote for regional chair, you vote for your school board, and people are overwhelmed, and it's confusing. And I think it's really turning a lot of people off. The solution to that is, a route that I'm not sure we want to go down at the moment, but I do think that we need to examine the number of politicians that we have in this community and maybe see if we can streamline that somehow to get people picking and choosing the candidate they really want to see everywhere.
And Ms. Khatoon, how would you better engage voters?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you why people won't vote, why they don't vote, is because of the fact, rather than going out for voting, standing there in a line, why shouldn't I work, make an hourly wage for myself, right? That's one of the things. People don't come out to vote, right? Engaging them again, yes, they need to know the importance of their vote, unless and until they're educated enough about the objective that, it makes a huge difference whomever you, again, engage in the youth to come forward, know what are the problems in their communities and how they can be. We need to educate the children from the very young age, from the schools, from the colleges, from the universities, so they know what is the importance of their vote. If you all of a sudden, they don't know what is the meaning of vote, why should they vote, how voting helps them, how their candidate help them. Somebody ask maybe a 17, 18-year-old person and say, hey, what does a councillor do? No clue. No clue at all. So make them understand the importance of the elected members, and only then they will come out and vote, so they understand their rights, their values, their houses, their interests can be protected by these representatives whom are being elected to the office. And I believe from there we can move on. Then again, yes, making it more accessible for the seniors so they can easily, or making it closer to their home so they can come out and vote, right? Making them understand how their vote counts. So I believe involving more and more youth, and we have a long way to go from schools onwards, so we can start a process to improve. Thank you.
That does indeed bring an end to the question answer portion of the debate. Each candidate now will have 2 minutes to provide a closing statement, and for that we will begin with candidate Marcus Drasdo.
Door knocking has taught me a lot about what people really want in this city, and the simplest answer to that is fairness. We want a fair way to get things done. I hear stories all the time. It's always the smallest stories too. Oh, they did some work on the road, they dug up the front lawn, and now I got this hole there and I can't get anybody back to fix it. Why is that such a big deal? Or, hey, they took down the tree and now we've been waiting 1.5 years for a new tree. These things are ridiculous. They shouldn't take so long. Whatever we need to do, we need to get that started and process much simpler for people to get things done there in a timely order and fashion. The other one's development. We're sitting on a very, very important time in the City of Kitchener's history right now. We have almost $3 billion in permit starts going on in the City of Kitchener. That's a mass revenue that's coming in, first of all, for property taxes. So where is that money going to, which would be the first question everybody should be asking, the incumbents and the City of Kitchener. But more importantly, what are we doing to hold developers accountable? We see this time and time again. I even talked to city planners inside the city department. 10 years ago, the City of Kitchener and the planners, they were the ones that controlled development in the city. Right now, we have developers that are doing whatever they want. Density bonuses, oh, here, write a check. Anything you want to do to get things done. They have full control right now of City Hall. If you watch council, it's not very hard to see which members of council sit amongst favor with developers. Developers are paying and pushing the councillors to choose to let them do whatever they want. We have all of these different surveys, we do all these parts programs, do all these things to engage citizens of what they want. But meanwhile, the developers come in and do whatever they want. The city member on this council beside us here today is, again, he's a developer wannabe as well. Take one look at his property at Bridge Street in Lexington, his development, look at the paper, find out the citizen engagement that came against that. He's in bed with the developers just as much as everybody else is. We need to step up to developers. This is an important time right now to make sure that Kitchener is a livable, great city for all of us, not just developers.
Move on to your closing remark.
Okay, well, I promise you one thing, from the day that I am elected, as soon as I'm elected, I'm personally going to go and meet with Mr. Ian McLean, the president of Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce, and going to sit with him and make strategies to come up with a plan for the Ward 1 Kitchener residents. They already have one that is called the Access Student Talent, and I am planning on having a strategy just for the residents of Kitchener Ward 1, so where they can better access or get better access to the facilities in the community and the better jobs. After that, I'm thinking I plan to sit with the school board trustees to make a plan for the coming generations to better train them. If people from other part of the city or other regions can come in, get better training here or get trained here and then go back, why can't our residents go and do the same? I will connect to the Chamber of Commerce of other regions and make sure that there are programs in place where our residents can go, get better training and come back and take care of their loved ones, their families, their seniors here, and live a better life in the Kitchener region, Ward 1. After that, I'm going to sit with the small business owners and make sure that we come up with strategies. If they need any concession, we're going to sit with them and facilitate those concessions so they can provide better jobs again for our youth and our families to raise their families in a better way. I'm not going to go into jugglery of words by saying our budget deficit is low or our the property tax are the lowest in the region compared to A or B. I am going to deliver results, and I'm going to show you the families whose life are in a miserable way, working two jobs, and how they are going to live better once I get elected.
Thank you very much. That was candidate Aasia Khatun. And I'd also like to thank all the Ward 1 candidates for participating in tonight's debate. So make sure to watch Rogers TV on the night of October the 22nd for up to the minute local results. On behalf of the Rogers TV production crew, I'm Dan Polchuk. Thanks for watching.